Hello, everyone. Today I have a voice, and I'm going to be showing you the absolute basics of Blender for modeling a car. We're talking the bare minimum so that you can get started making OBJs for Dream Car Builder. Or you can just watch this if you want to learn Blender. When you load into Blender for the first time, it can be quite overwhelming. It certainly was for me. Just know, before you start learning, that you will not be pressing 80% of these buttons, so don't worry. I'd just like to preface this for all of the Blender professionals out there. This is not trying to be a holistic guide to Blender. It is simply some things you need to know for modeling simple car bodies. Okay, so first up, let's talk about what you're even looking at. Think of Blender like a massive workshop. Right now, you're kind of standing in the main entrance hall, and all those words at the top, layout, modeling, sculpting, UV editing, texture paint, shading, animation, rendering, compositing, geometry nodes, scripting, they're like doors to different specialist rooms. For making cars, we're mostly just going to be in the modeling tab. That is where you'll do most of the actual, well, modeling, stretching points, pulling faces, basically digital clay. We will also use the layout tab for moving things around once you start adding different bits. Don't worry about the other ones for now. All right, let's get you moving around this digital space without feeling like you're wrestling a particularly stubborn octopus. First things first, your camera. How you look at your masterpiece to be. Just hold down your middle mouse button and wiggle your mouse. Congrats, you're orbiting around like a little satellite. Feeling a bit off-center? Hold Shift and your middle mouse button, then move your mouse to pan. That's like sliding your view side to side or up and down. And to get a closer look at your beautiful cube, or zoom out, just roll that trusty scroll wheel. Easy peasy, right? You can also hold Ctrl and the middle mouse button, then drag up and down to zoom, if you're feeling fancy. Now, how about actually touching things? To select an object, like that default cube staring back at you, just left-click on it. Want to grab a few things at once? Hold down Shift while you left-click on multiple objects. If you've got a whole bunch of stuff scattered about and want to grab a group, hit the B key, that's for box select, then click and drag a box around everything you want. Boom, selected. And if you've selected too much or just want to clear your selection, either click off an empty space or hit Alt+A, or just tap A twice quickly. For actually doing stuff with your selected thing-amajig in this object mode we're in, the magic keys are G for grab, which lets you move it, R for rotate, and S for scale. Just tap the key, wiggle your mouse, and click to confirm. Oh, and if you mess up, Ctrl+Z is your best friend for undo. Use it often, use it wisely. Made something truly hideous by accident? Select it and hit X or the delete key to banish it. All right, so you've poked the cube, spun it around, maybe even made it bigger or smaller. Hucka-cucka-cockle, cool beans. But that's just like playing with a toy car. To build the car, you gotta get your hands dirty with its actual guts. And for that, we venture into the mystical realm of edit mode. With your object selected, that cube for instance, hit the Tab key on your keyboard. Whoa, did you see that? The object probably looks a bit different, maybe with dots on its corners. You're in edit mode now. Hit Tab again, and you're back out in object mode. Tab in, tab out. It's like the secret handshake for Blender modelers. So, what's the big deal about edit mode? This is where you stop treating your object like a solid block and start messing with its actual building blocks. Vertices, the pointy dots, edges, the lines connecting the dots, and faces, the flat surfaces making up the object. Up at the top left of your 3D view, usually just below where it says Edit Mode, you'll see three little icons, a dot, a line, and a square. These let you switch between selecting vertices, press 1 on your number row, edges, press 2, or faces, press 3. Go on, try clicking them or pressing the numbers. Now all those controls we just learned, left-click to select, Shift plus left-click for more, B for box select, G to grab, R to rotate, S to scale, they all still work. But instead of moving the whole object, you're moving just the selected vertices, edges, or faces. This, my friend, is how you actually start squishing and stretching that boring old cube into something that vaguely resembles a car. It's all about grabbing these bits and pulling them into shape. Right, enough yapping, let's get straight to making shapes. Ditch that cube, select it, hit X, then enter. Now add a flat sheet to work with. Press Shift plus A, go to Mesh, and pick Plane. Got it? Good. Now, hit Tab to jump into edit mode. You're looking at a simple square. To turn this into something more car-like, we're going to use the magic of extruding. Think of it like pulling new bits out of the existing bits. Select an edge. Press 2 for edge select, then click an edge. Now press E for extrude. Wiggle your mouse. See that new face and edge being dragged out? Click to place it. You can also select vertices. Press 1 and extrude them too, which will pull out new edges. Just select, hit E, move it where you want with your mouse, click and repeat. Grab G these new parts, move them around, and you're literally building out the form bit by bit from that flat plane. That's the core of it. Select, extrude, position. Now, we're going to put a reference image from the blueprint of a car on the background. Start off by just dragging in the image that you want, then click this little arrow at the bottom and change the position to all zeros, then set the X rotation to 90 degrees so our car will be upright. Now we can begin with the shape of the car. I like to start with the front wheel arch because it gives you a good basis for the profile of the car. You can start anywhere that you want though. Use this little perspective thingy up here to perfectly align your view with the side of the car. Also press this button here, or Alt plus Z, to enable X-ray mode. This will let us see the image through the faces we have created. Finally, we can start modeling. You can start extruding out edges to create body panels, the technique of being able to create perfect topology. That means the layout of your vertices and their connecting edges. On the first attempt is something that will only come with practice. However, I can give you some tips to help you. First of all, as I'm doing here, try to consider how you will need to connect other parts of the car to the part that you are currently working on. I know from the image that there is bumper trim here, so even though I don't necessarily have to, I'm adding in extra vertices. Secondly, using keyboard shortcuts will make your life so much easier. Using G to move around vertices and E to extrude them is 100% the best option. You will literally double how long it takes to make a model if you don't use shortcuts. Keeping the number of vertices in each area or density of vertices consistent is important, as you want to be able to seamlessly transition from one body part to another, and you won't be able to do this if your front bumper has 3 times more vertices than your bonnet. This also means that the size of your OBJ file won't get out of control. Anyway, let's go over a couple more things. Firstly, if you want a vertex halfway across a face, like in this situation where the inside of my wheel arch has a vertex in the middle, but the facing edge does not. This has made a shape that has more than 4 sides. This is called an n-gon. They can cause lots of shading issues if used incorrectly. It's usually better to avoid them. What we are going to do is select this edge, right-click and press Subdivide. That will chop the edge in half. Now we are going to delete this n-gon face and link the 2 vertices together. Better. Now we can select the faces like so, and press F to fill each side with new fresh quads. Another way you can do this is with the knife tool. The knife tool is very powerful, and it does what it says on the tin, cuts new topology. Starting by clicking on this vertex with the knife tool, you can then click any point across this edge to cut this n-gon up. Press Enter, and now you will see that we have 2 faces. You may have noticed there that when I deleted that face, I pressed only faces. There are actually multiple different options when you press the delete key, and I will now explain them. Vertices deletes all selected vertices. If you are in face mode, that includes the vertices of any face you have selected. Edges deletes all selected edges. This will preserve the vertices that they use to connect. Faces deletes faces, obviously. Now, the difference between faces and only faces is that if an edge of your face isn't connected to another face, faces will delete that edge, because the face is gone and it is no longer needed. However, if you select only faces, surprise, surprise, only the faces are removed and not the edge. Here, as you can see, I've finished making this part of the wheel arch and I want to extend the geometry. You can actually just select an entire row of vertices and extrude them out. This saves a lot of time. As I said before, it's good to keep vertex density consistent, and clearly right now it isn't. Our door is long and has no vertices going across it. That might be fine right now, but in the future it will be awkward. So let's help ourselves out and make some new geometry. If you can guess where new geometry might be in the future, then this makes modeling complex things like a car much easier as you spend less time going around and fixing geometry. For example, I can see right here that there is a window pillar, so I want to make my geometry under that. Now, what is the best way to do this? Loop cutting. This will create a series of cuts across edges called an edge loop. It follows the geometry and is very useful for adding more detail in places while keeping consistent geometry. All you do is select the loop cut tool, hover over an edge, and you will see this yellow line that is showing you where the cut will be. You can hold left-click and drag this cut to wherever you want it to be and release to make it. One of my favorite things about Blender is its elaborate and sometimes scarily specific selecting tools. The one I use the most for cars is Pick Shortest Path. It does what you expect it to do. With a vertex already selected, hold Control and click on another vertex. The shortest physical path between those vertices is now selected. If you want to select the shortest path by number of vertices instead of physical distance, just tick this box here that says Topology Distance. Now that we've made a bit of a 2D shape for our car, we can move into the third dimension and make this thing look more like a car and less like a meat cleaver. I personally like to do this by eye, but for the sake of beginners, you can load in a top-down or front view of your blueprint also. Ensure it's the same scale, otherwise shit is going to hit the fan. Now you can select your rows of vertices and drag them according to your car. You have to nail this part, otherwise you've got a lot of shuffling to do. If the car you are modeling exists, then you can find an existing model online to preview and get an idea of what this looks like. If it doesn't exist, then just guess and pretend that's what you meant it to look like. I'm joking, of course. This is what makes 3D art, well, art. Even with a blueprint in front of you, you still have to imagine how you can turn that 2D image into 3D, and that's why this is so fun. Some shading business now. When your car is exported, Blender assigns something called a normal to each face. Without getting too technical, this is a value which tells your computer what direction the face is pointing in. Sometimes this can be wrong in Blender, and I will show you how to fix it. You can see here in object mode that when I right-click and press Shade Smooth, there is a dark hole in my door. This is because the normal is the wrong way round. There are two ways of sorting this out. First of all, go into Edit mode and select all of your geometry. Then click Mesh up here, then Normals, then Recalculate Normals. This will tell Blender to get its shit together and sort out the normals. If that fails, then you can click on the offending face, and in the same normals screen, press Flip. If you want to check if your model's normals are correct, click this arrow here, and press Face Orientation. Wait, nothing changed. That is great. That means your model is all normal. If you look here, there are red faces showing us that these are the back sides of the faces. Most of the time, these will never be visible and will be hidden away on the inside of your mesh. If you want to make the visible body line, you can select some edges, right-click and press Mark Sharp. This will tell Blender that you don't want this bit to be shaded smooth. Bear in mind that for realistic models, this is better replaced by other techniques like beveling. That one's for another video, because in real life, no car body comes to an infinitely sharp point. Except maybe the Cybertruck, so Mark Sharp isn't the best option. But for our use, it's fine because it helps us keep that vertex number down for Dream Car Builder. The final thing I would like to introduce is a modifier. A modifier is basically an effect that you can put on your model, or parts of your model, to achieve a certain design. One of the most useful ones is the Boolean modifier. It lets you cut geometry using other geometry. Let's say for some strange reason we want a circular hole in our door. All we have to do is add a sphere to our scene, scale it to the right size, and place it inside our door as if the hole is already there. Then select the part we have made, click this wrench, and add modifier. Inside the Generate tab is Boolean. Select Difference, and then in the Object field, click this eyedropper and select your sphere. Now we can hide the sphere by pressing H and take a look. Wow! There's a hole in our door now. You may be wondering why we don't just make that hole out of raw geometry. This is because we can now easily adjust where our hole is and also edit the original model without them affecting each other. Trust me, you will find a use for this at some point, and you will thank me. Unfortunately for you, we are only scratching the surface of what you can do in Blender. But I hope that this video's scratch was quite deep, as I talked about a lot of stuff. If you have any questions, put them in the comments and I will answer them in the next Blender video when I cover some more Blender techniques. Until next time, thanks for watching and please subscribe so you don't miss the next video.